and welcome to a technical discussion on UI and UX. I will be going over 3 prompts today. Number 1, I will be discussing the design thinking process and why it's important to follow these steps rather than jumping straight to building the solution. Number 2, I will be discussing uh, the difference between UI and UX and how they work together in my own words, and I'm going to enjoy that. And number 3, I'm going to be discussing Figma and some of the benefits of using things in Figma, such as frames. So let's go. Number 1, the standard application design process can be broken down into 5 easily identifiable steps. And it is worth noting that the stages are not always sequential and they don't need to be followed in a particular order or follow any distinguished pattern. As someone who loves project management, it's a little iffy, but sometimes the concepts and the perspectives are useful. Following the standard design process is favorable because it's more likely to lead to satisfactory results and more effectively. It's a tried and true process. It accomplishes this by providing a sense of direction for developers to follow, which helps guide teams. Without following a well-vetted process, the development team runs the risk of becoming disorganized and having to expend additional resources to achieve the same results. The 5 stages are broken down as follows. No particular order here, but I kind of like this order here. Number 1, empathize. That is to put yourself in the client's or the user's shoes and work backwards to sort of envision what they're going through and what their needs are. Number 2 is to define. That is to identify the user's needs and challenges. Number 3 is to ideate. That is to brainstorm how the design or what you're trying to do or your resources or concepts can help the user and not be a hindrance or a cliche. Just ideas here a lot. This is the brainstorm. Number 4 is the prototype. That's where you begin developing a prototype of sort of a minimum viable product based on, perhaps the best, I don't want to say ideas, but like concepts. So like all the best ideas that aren't conflicting, if that makes sense, or something like that. And lastly, or not really lastly, is to test out the prototype and to take notes for future development. Uh, Next up here, I'll be discussing UI and UX design. Now, I'm not going to go with a ketchup bottle because I don't really like that, because both the old school glass bottle that you can't squeeze and the new one where you can squeeze it both have UI and UX. It's not like either one is devoid of the other. So it doesn't really always discuss that. I don't know. Anyway, mine, they do have an interconnected relationship, and I am going to compare it to taking a guided tour. UI focuses on how the users will navigate and experience a tour. It's the tour route itself, along with the other bells and whistles. User UX focuses on how users are feeling, especially while on tour, but not necessarily only on tour, right? It could be while they're booking and but the time of the season and all this other stuff too. So if you're just focusing on that, I feel like you're missing the picture, as you're a noob. Um, and it's the difference between a good guided tour. UX is the difference between a good tour guide who can, you know, really adjust based on a crowd because they're mindful and empathetic, and versus a guide who just kind of sticks to the script. Um, a bad UI would be a guide who gets lost once or twice before making it to the final destination, similar to how you might have to click a bunch of extra buttons just to get to where you want to go. And a bad UX would be, say they get you there, there, nobody's lost or anything, um, but it's not a notable experience, or maybe worse yet, the tour guide has a bad attitude or something like that. Um, and who knows, that could be, uh, there's nothing wrong with the UI, but there's like an advertisement that offends your users, and it's like that's not really part of the interface, but it is part of the experience. Lastly here, I can't even see my time. There's a book over it. I'm said like 4 minutes. I did it. I don't know, like last quarter, it was like every single one was over. So holler at me if it's a problem. Maybe you can, I can just like put myself on 1.5x or something. All right. Lastly, and I'm not going to mention that again either. Yeah. Explain why you would use a frame instead of a group or a rectangle. A rectangle has, and I have the guide right up there too to help here. A rectangle has substantially less options for customization than a frame does. Frames are built for design prototyping because they come with templates that mimic the profiles of various devices, whether that's an iPhone 14, and because iPhone 15 is the same dimensions, it's going to include that automatically. Whereas if you're using a group, you might have to think you're smart because you're not using a rectangle, but automatically adjust those. Um, and it's not really designed with development tools unless you did it yourself, and then again, you still think you're smart. Um, and you very well might be here. Don't let me don't quote me on that. Um, anyhow, frames mimic the profiles of other devices, which is crucial if you're, like I said, developing on an app that's using an iPhone and a tablet and on the web as well. Because if it's all suited to just an iPhone and you go to it on the computer, it's going to look terrible if it's even usable. Um, Frames can hold a number of layers as well, apply various colors within the frame, and they come with built-in developer tools to enable efficient workflow. Uh, that has been it. Thanks for watching. Till next time.